Welcome to YellBro. I'm Jordan, and today we're gonna watch increasingly one of my favorite content creators. I think Too Lazy to Try. Talking about comedians that are mentioned in the Epstein files. But first, do not forget to share support. Oh my god! Do not forget to share support. Hopefully, donate to all the links in the description box. Also, please join the Discord if you feel it. Only if you feel like. All opinions are welcome, and obviously this video will be linked for you to look at on your own and assess and judge and potato chips and George and Kramer and all that shit all up in there. So please look for this stuff on your own. Linked in the description box. All right, let's just fucking do this. Too Lazy to Try with the video titled Comedians Named in the Epstein Files. I wonder if he brings up the Bryan Callen stuff because that
This was the video
crazy.
I wanted.
Listen, if he doesn't bring up Bryan Callen's statement, I have it on the side, so I'll just play it myself. But I think he will. But I think we'll do that. All right, here we go.
Jeffrey Epstein was a huge fan of jokes.
The Jeffrey Epstein or a Jeffrey Epstein?
He was. I got to be friends with him.
Isn't everyone?
I went to dinner at his house.
What?
Fucking
That's
Chrissy
so
Marr, what a
cool.
dumb
I went
bitch.
back to dinner, just
Is
me
he
and him.
Mayor?
Uh-huh.
I think her
It's a
name
whole long story.
What was he like?
Mayhar?
The normal,
is
smart.
Mayor. I let her buy
Decent,
for me for sure.
When I was there,
I'm in love.
I had heard from the guy that brought me there
You mean his
that he had
apartment?
trouble in Florida with underage girls. But I'd been to Florida a million times, and the underage girls that are 15, they look 25. So,
Sick.
you know, I
Oh,
wasn't.
look,
Like,
Michael
that's
Tracy.
Florida.
And it was a free meal at his house with other comics, so I wasn't asking a lot of questions.
All right, so in this video, we have comedians that were mentioned in the
free
Epstein
meal?
files,
What the fuck's
starting
that
with
mean?
Jackie the Joke Man Martling, who is one of the few people that actually seems to be proud of being in the files and having been friends with Epstein. You know, everyone else in there lies about it and downplays their connection to him and what they knew
It's
about
Elon.
him. But Jackie's just like, yeah, I was friends with him. He was a normal, smart, decent guy, I think he said. Also, he admits he knew about his first conviction, but cut him some slack because in Florida, you can't tell the difference between a 15 and 25-year-old, which this
You almost
shows
slapped
that
as
the
you're saying
people who
that.
were hanging out with Epstein after he was a registered sex offender were well aware of his past, but made excuses for him, like Jackie here. But he's the only one that's actually honest about it, probably because he doesn't have much to lose. If you're not familiar with him, at one point years ago, over 2 decades ago, he had a promising comedy career because he was an in-studio writer for the Howard Stern show
hair
until
band.
2001. Then he got too arrogant. He thought he deserved more money and believed he could be successful on his own. So he decided to leave. And then, of course, it was all downhill from there. And now Jackie's claim to fame is he's in the Epstein files. Epstein was subscribed to Jackie's joke email newsletter thing. And Jackie was always sending him promotions for his CDs and comedy shows. Like he's always trying to sell him shit. Also, they talked about going to dinners, one of which Gilbert Gottfried was invited to, but I don't think he.
I'm sorry for pausing this, but like I saw several videos where they said like the URLs of these things may have been maybe bought, right? To where they changed like what the actual content of the original URLs were. I want to say that. All right, here we go.
Also, they talked about going to dinners, one of which Gilbert Gottfried was invited
For the
to, but I don't
investigators,
think he
right?
went. Same thing with Mark
Sleuths.
Maron. He was supposed to go to one of them, but bailed. It was one with Jackie, Woody Allen, and this other comedian, Bobby Slayton, who are both all over the Epstein files. And then also Nick DiPaolo was there. So it seems like a pretty random group of
I
comedians.
saw him in
But
there.
somebody,
Nick
a couple
DiPaolo.
guys emailed me, said, Jackie, you're in the Epstein files. Because I don't know how long he had been on the Jokeland email list, but he loved dirty jokes.
Wow.
Because smart people love dirty jokes. Which are
Right.
like little
Smart people.
problems.
What other comics did you meet there? Or
I have a great picture of me with Nick DiPaolo, Bobby Slayton, Jay Thomas, Woody Allen, and me.
cool. At his house in Palm Springs or in Manhattan?
2 East 71st Street.
Wow.
And it was great. And you have a great
broken.
story from there that I
Wow.
will not tell you.
Oh, is it in the book?
No, I'm not sure who to share it with yet, but it's a story everybody knows. But it's funny because it was a story that I didn't think I should tell because it's not believable. And then it was written up in a book. And I'm like, wow, that rubber stamps my story. But now it's like people are going to just say to me, oh, you read that in a book, you know? So
No.
it goes full circle, you know?
And I think the story
Okay. Now, I have to say this because my love of like art, in a way, in radio interviews, I'm sorry, Nick DiPaolo is fucking funny. Not his hardcore culture war, right wing ish, whatever the fuck it is, thing, but like him on like Opie and Anthony, it's fucking funny. He can shit talk. He's funny. And also Woody Allen as a director and one of my kind of early inspirations in regards to how he can tell stories. He's fucking talented. It is what it is. But, you know, their personal lives might be weird. I know less so about Nick DiPaolo, but Woody Allen's personal life seems like kind of wild to me. Well, like it doesn't take away like he can tell stories. That makes sense. Whatever. All right, here we go. Just saying.
Where he's referring to, he's
Personal
already told
experience.
multiple times. It's about how Epstein explained to him the reason him and Trump had a falling out is because Trump told him he likes to sleep with his friends' wives. And I guess that was too far for Jeffrey Epstein. And Jackie's like, I get it. I mean, underage girls is one thing, but sleeping with your friend's wife is another level of sickness. But I guess now Jackie doesn't like to tell this story anymore because it was also in Michael Wolff's book. So people think Jackie got it from there. And Michael Wolff is kind of controversial. People think he was working with Epstein to try to take down Trump. But I'm pretty sure this is the story that Jackie was talking about that he now acts like he never told before.
It was a morals thing.
Fucking Greg
At the
Opie.
time, I didn't know how heinous
Christ.
Jeffrey was. I said, oh, really? What happened? He said, one day out of a
Comedy
clear
seems
blue
crazy.
sky, Trump said to me, do you fuck your best friend's wives? And I was a little shocked. And I said, well, I've never been married. But no, of course I don't. He said, well, Trump said to me, that's the only way I can get off is to fuck my best friend's wives. And he said, I just said, you know what?
Okay.
That's out of my wheelhouse. You know, honor amongst thieves. He said, you know, that was it. I never want anything to do with him after that. He blew off Trump on a morals, you know, and I totally get that. I mean, the guy's heinous and he's sleeping with underage girls, but you know, fucking your friends' wives is a whole nother level of sickness.
All right, listen, I'm speechless.
So Jackie being in the
Okay. All right. A little bit. All right. Is this like outright defense of Epstein, or is it a true story? I don't fucking know. Now we have Trump's words like out loud, where it's like, "Oh, this despicable. This guy was stealing employees from me." Right? We've heard that. Yeah, he also did like some rapey stuff, but like whatever. He stole employees from me. We've heard that before from Trump's perspective, right? Or his words out loud. This guy saying Epstein separated from Trump because I guess the idea of sleeping with your friends' wives is, you know, persona non grata, as some people say. All right, fair enough. Here we go.
Level of
Interesting.
sickness.
All right, listen, I'm speechless.
So Jackie being in the Epstein files is probably the most publicity he's had in years. It's funny, Epstein, he had a lot of high-profile friends in different industries, but it seems like he's lacking friends in the comedy business. I think it's more embarrassing for him to have been hanging out with Jackie than the other way around. And same thing with this other comedian, Bobby Slayton, who I'm sure most people have never heard of, but he seemed to have been really close with Epstein. He has a ton of emails and messages going back and forth with him. He's almost in as many files as Bill Gates. He was also always asking Epstein if he could stay at his apartment. It seemed like these comedians were kind of mooching off of him. I mean, every other email is like, Bobby Slayton hates to pester you again, but wondering if he could stay at your apartment. Bobby's asking if he could use the apartment. He misses hanging out with you. He stayed there so much and communicated with Epstein a lot.
Right.
Also, some of these emails between them caught people's attention because there's references to pizza, which can be code for children. I don't know if that's what they're actually referring to, but there's a lot of talk about pizza in their emails, and it is kind of weird. And like Jackie, this guy's pretty open about his friendship with Epstein and the fact that he always used to stay at his apartment. He doesn't hide it, but he acts like, I don't know anything about the girls, though.
you know, I had to, it's almost like Frank Sinatra going to see Sam Giancana. You know, I had to go and see Jeffrey, and his secretary assistant would call me up because, you know, sometimes Jeffrey wouldn't be in town. She'd call me up and go, Jeffrey wants to know if you can stop by this morning for a little while. So I'd go by for like 20, 30 minutes, 30, 40 minutes, and sometimes 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. He was always very busy. He had a line of people. I don't know if he had girls, whatever. I don't know anything about any of that. But I'd go because he's giving me this apartment. And all Jeffrey would do was ask me the same questions over and over and over about stand-up comedy. So when you're on stage, he was a brilliant man. You know, he went to Harvard.
And Nick DiPaolo was another comedian that was at that party with Jackie, Bobby, and Woody Allen. But I think he only hung out with Epstein that one time because afterwards Epstein emailed him and said, "Thanks for coming last night. Woody and I had a great time. If okay with you, I will contact you on my return to New York." And Nick responded and said, "Jeffrey, thanks for a great time last night. It was a real kick meeting with you and Woody. The house and meal were most impressive. Give me a little time to process that last part. As you know, you are a bit of a controversial guy. I mean no offense by that at all. LOL." So again, I think this shows people were well aware of Epstein's past. It sounds like Nick had to rethink hanging out with him again because he's a convicted sex offender, which I think Nick did cut him off there. Like he only went to that one dinner, then's like, yeah, I don't know if I should be hanging out with someone like that. So when the elites try to claim we didn't know about Epstein's past, they're completely full of shit. I mean, even these comedians were well aware of it, and they're basically nobodies compared to Epstein's other friends. I mean, the richest, most powerful people in the world are meeting with Epstein, knowing what he's already convicted of. But Nick DiPaolo, a C-list comedian, thought, I don't know if I should hang out with this guy anymore. He's too controversial. And I think he only met with Epstein that one time. Also, Joe Rogan was asked.
Yeah, he's gonna bring up Rogan. That makes sense. The Rogan, what's that? Lawrence Krauss, right? The I think physicist or quantum physicist. Has some like wild takes on physics, by the way, and the origins of the universe. But either way, yeah, I think he had his own like social proclivities that have been exposed, kind of. And apparently he was trying to get Rogan to meet with Epstein, too. And I guess Rogan was like, nah, fuck that. Apparently. Let's find out. Here we go.
Controversial. And I think he only met with Epstein that one time. Also, Joe Rogan was asked to meet with Epstein back in 2017. After Lawrence Krauss did his podcast, Epstein messaged him and wanted to get in touch with Joe to get on his podcast so he could try to rehabilitate his image. But apparently Joe looked him up and was like, yeah, I don't know if I want to hang out with this guy. And he never agreed to meet with him. So I'll give him some credit there. But then he obviously ended up having on a bunch of Epstein's friends. So after Lawrence did Joe's podcast, Epstein messaged him and said, I saw you did Rogan. Can you introduce me? I think he's funny. Yeah, and Epstein didn't have the best taste in comedy. He was also a Whitney Cummings fan as well. But Lawrence responded.
The fucking side disses are hilarious. But yeah, he didn't know anything about comedy. Like he's, yeah. Let me like Joe Rogan,
ongoing beef,
or Whitney Cummings. You know, these fucking dog shit comedians. Like, anyways.
Poor fucking Whitney, bro. Whitney and Rogan are like, fuck this fucking guy, and Bert Kreischer too. So he's like, fucking too lazy to try. Go fucking go die.
All these you gotta ignore the haters, man. Gotta ignore them. All right, here we go.
Didn't have the best taste in comedy. He was also a Whitney Cummings fan as well. But Lawrence responded and said, I will reach out to Rogan. And Epstein said if Rogan wants, you could have dinner with him and Woody Allen. So it sounds like Epstein would try to use Woody Allen to convince these other comedians to meet with him. But Lawrence said, sorry about Joe Rogan so far. He seems more timid than I would have thought. And then recently Kurt Metzger, who's good friends with Rogan, talked about this. And he said Lawrence was like harassing Rogan to try to get him to meet with Epstein. But Rogan just looked up who he was and is like, why would I want to meet with that guy?
He told me, he goes, Lawrence Krauss was trying to get him there. This is after the first arrest, okay?
Yeah.
So Joe looked the guy up.
Is this
and
the
he's
QAnon show?
Like, pedo charges. He goes, oh, I assure you he's not a pedophile. And he was trying to learn to meet Woody Allen. He goes, neither is Woody Allen, who also wants to meet you.
So, okay, here.
By the way, Lawrence Krauss harassed Joe about it. I think Lawrence Krauss was ordered to go try to get Joe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I bet. I bet he was.
So this is funny because
But
what Joe
Joe
just showed me
is-
is his
you can't fuck
correspondence
with
with
Joe, man.
Lawrence Krauss. So
He's
this is
smart.
the other side of it of what was going on.
Yeah.
And it was Epstein
You
trying
know,
to
Jimmy looks so
trick to try to
scared.
rehab the guy. And not only that, afterwards when it got real bad with Epstein, so this is before
He
this
made
was
it to this guy's
Are you-
show.
hammering Joe.
Are you
That's
recording?
Step up,
Stalking
Jimmy.
Joe email.
Yeah.
You need to get back to me. Where it felt
Step
like
up for
not
Jimmy.
any explicit threat,
He
but it
made
felt
it to
threatening.
this.
It's
Too
like
lazy
desperate
to
from the
try.
emails that I saw. So, and I always knew that guy was a creep. He's got all the physicists, by the way,
And
almost
Kurt's
all of them
about
have
to
a terrible
sandbag
reputation
you.
and really bad things.
And I was originally thinking, I don't know if I've ever heard Rogan tell this story on his show before, which is kind of strange because it's interesting and it makes him look good. You know, you could be like, man, I don't even want to have dinner with this creep, but then these billionaires are going to his island. So I thought that was weird, but then I just saw while I was wrapping up this video that Joe talked about it on his most recent episode. And maybe he has mentioned this story before, but I believe
He
this
has,
is the first
but
time I've
not
ever heard him
vaguely,
publicly mention it.
but not,
also,
like,
him talking
saying
about this is
specific-
a really bad look for his friends like Elon Musk, because Rogan's like, I would
That's
never meet
where
with
it
that
gets
guy.
weird,
I did a
right?
quick Google search and I
His
realized
friends.
that guy's a creep. I don't know why I'd want to have dinner with him, and I don't know why Lawrence is asking me about this. Like, what the hell is this guy thinking? But then somebody like Elon Musk is asking to go to the wildest parties on his private island. So the fact that comedians are all sketched out about him and turning down invitations, but billionaires and world leaders are going to the island is insane.
Yeah, I'm in the files for not going because Jeffrey Epstein was trying to meet with me.
Oh, I did see that.
I'm like a
and I was
savage,
like,
you know
what?
I'm like, no thanks.
Yeah.
Aren't you
like,
glad?
Yeah, but I would have never went anyway. It's like it's not even a possibility that I would ever went.
But did you-
especially after I Googled him. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? This was like 2017. One of my guests was trying to get me to meet him. I was like, bitch, are you high? Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
For what reason would you?
We bought all his
What-
other
what would
ideas,
be-
though.
If I was a
Lawrence
guy
Krauss
who was
is-
like sucking
listen
up
to
to
him,
the
I
rich and
would give him a-
powerful, if I was really interested in hanging out with rich and powerful people
Parties and the
Yeah.
invitations.
and blindly ambitious, right?
Yeah.
They're willing to like put aside, you know, all the possibilities of what could be awful about these people
Yeah.
and get together with them without any, even a cursory Google search
Yeah,
as to who
one.
you're hanging out
Can't
with.
have your assistant Google something.
How about you just do it? Just go, "Whoa."
It doesn't take long.
Like, hey, look what I just found out. This is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
So hopefully he tells his story next time.
Wait, is that RFK's wife?
Cheryl, you know,
Cheryl David or whatever.
is it Hines?
Cheryl Hines?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is that her?
Married, or sorry, in the TV show, married to Larry David. In real life,
Yeah, that's Larry David.
married to RFK Jr. Right?
Didn't she get divorced because he cheated
Yeah.
on her?
Did she? I don't know.
No, they campaigned together. She was campaigning with him.
I think it was after that. Didn't she file divorce like soon after that?
Well-
I don't know. I've seen her on like Theo Vaughn's podcast, a bunch of other podcasts where they were like hyping up Trump and the new win. And
Oh, okay. So I might be tripping. Well,
Was that her,
well,
though?
the allegations were out there though. The allegations were out there.
Was
if that
was
is her,
though?
that's crazy because that motherfucker's in the files too, isn't he?
Not really.
Nom.
Not really. But I think RFK before the Epstein files admitted quite a bit about his past experiences or relationships and whatever the fuck he's done before. And I guess she stayed loyal in that time period, or at least on paper that I saw. I don't know. I'm just like curious if that was her though. It does look like her, though. It does, right? Cheryl fucking Hines or whatever. But all right, here we go.
I just found out. This is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
So hopefully he
Oh,
tells
not
the
too much
story
like her.
next
Yeah,
time
I
he's
don't
on
know.
with his billionaire friends
That's
that
her?
met with Epstein. But
I don't think so.
Right? Okay. Fair enough.
I don't think it is.
Doesn't like looks like her, but not like her.
Yeah, no. This lady looks a little younger. She looks younger.
Okay, that's an insult. How dare you? Watch your mouth.
I'm telling you, she does.
All right, here we go.
there's no way he will. I mean, it's weird he doesn't talk about this more. You'd think this would be
By the way, I'm
something he'd
watching
want to
episode
share.
one of
But
the
maybe he didn't want to make his billionaire
Daly
friends look
Wire
bad,
Game
even
of
though
Thrones show.
now he's obviously talking
Can't
about
wait.
it. So I don't know. But also, Lewis Black
Doesn't-
is
yeah,
another
it doesn't look
comedian
like
who
her.
met with
Doesn't.
Epstein. He went to one of Epstein's parties at his place in New York City. Bobby Slayton invited him,
fucking
and of
blame.
course, Woody Allen was there. And he also admits there's some girls there as well.
And to boot, I was in Jeffrey Epstein's house once.
What?
Really?
Yes, with Bobby Slayton. I've got nothing.
How was Jeffrey Epstein's house?
Unbelievable.
I mean, but what was the occasion?
Bobby
Louis
Slayton,
fucking Black, man.
Woody Allen, and Sun Yi.
Oh my God!
Oh, this is like a Mad Libs.
The stepdaughter.
What's the occasion for this?
It was that Bobby had gotten this. He had invited a bunch of, Epstein was like, let's go, let's get a bunch of hoo-has together. I mean,
Sure.
if you looked at the list of people he hung out with, so he liked Bobby's work, and then he said he wanted to meet me apparently years ago. This is like 7 years before the shit hits the fan.
Oh yeah.
And we're there, and
It almost looks like
just
George
kind
is
of
sitting there.
Wild. And
listening
then
to him.
the capper of the evening is at the very end, David Blaine
Right?
shows
Like the way
up.
Whoa.
Oh, yeah.
Can you make these charges disappear?
So he that was our night. I'll tell you, there were young girls flitting about, but I didn't know. Having not figured out anything on the Boyer bus about age, I had no idea. I didn't know how old or young they were.
And I think he might have met with Epstein a few times. He was at least scheduled to meet with him more than once. But he also calls for the files to be released. Like, he rants about it on his podcast, and he seems pretty passionate about it. So you can make of that what you will. Another thing he talked about was the night before he went to Epstein's apartment, the Israeli defense minister was there, and he was showing Epstein.
Sorry, for comedy fans, I laugh pretty hard about things like that Louis Black has said ever. From the Daly Show and like his segments to his stand-up, I've laughed my ass off from Louis Black. But yeah, I hope he didn't do anything stupid. Personal opinion. But yeah, all right, here we go.
Their new defense system on a whiteboard, and Louis was all weirded out about it.
You go in and he's got a whiteboard and there's all of this stuff drawn on it. And he goes, you want me to tell you what that is? And I go, yeah, well, sure. Bobby and he goes, I had the Israeli defense minister here last night for dinner.
Yeah.
And then he's got me and Bobby Slayton. I mean, what kind of a fucking, are you shitting me? And then he said, and so we were talking about, he was showing me what kind of defense systems Israel would use in case of attack.
Wow.
And I thought, you know what? First up, what is the Israeli defense minister? What the fuck is the matter? Why would you tell me this is already, now it's weird.
Yes.
These two don't even want to hear this
I know
shit.
this was like a
Please
something is wrong.
Stop
in
talking
this
about
house.
it.
Sure.
This is a guy who's working on his defense many years before.
Right. Right.
That's interesting. I mean,
Well, shout out to RoboCop guy. But yeah, when they associate Jewish with Israel, like so hardcore like that, you're missing shit like this. Like Louis, from my experience, Louis Black has been quite critical of all politics and all politicians, from my experience, and in his realm, which is comedy, right? Like, yo, what the fuck are these guys doing, right? But when there's a new fucking mental arena like to dive into or absorb, becomes extremely stupid, which is why they miss out on shit like this. And he does it in a very funny way too, by the way. Very funny with the way he does it. But all right, here we go.
And his place was outstanding, right? I mean, it was just
it was major.
gorgeous. Yeah.
And it kind of is like a big, it was a big, and it didn't have a lot of furniture in it. It was very bare, but it was done well.
And one of the more famous comedians Epstein hung out with was Chris Tucker. He was part of that humanitarian trip to Africa with Bill Clinton and Kevin Spacey on Epstein's private jet in the early 2000s. So this was before Epstein was ever convicted. But also, Kevin Spacey admitted there were young girls on the plane.
I felt he put the president at risk on that trip to South Africa because there were these young girls. And we were like, who is this guy? So I will say this. There were young girls on those flights. There were young girls on those flights, yeah.
We flew Bill Clinton and a lot of different, that was a humanitarian trip to Africa.
God
And
damn.
I met him on that trip because it was his plane. I didn't know who plane we was getting on, but it was a whole bunch of
Yeah, bro.
Who was the
delegation.
driver of this
And
plane?
yeah, I met him, and
Okay,
you
Chrissy
don't know
boy.
people what they do in their private lives. So
Look at
Yeah.
him. Look at him. Right.
That's totally.
Tell me this, Chris. Look at his eyes, yo.
Weren't there? I swear to guys. Unfortunately, I saw photos of Bill Clinton doing like African humanitarian mission stuff, right? And
He talks about
when he's
that.
there, he's like
Oh
butt
my
naked with some like chick that look older.
No way.
Giant booby
No way.
chick, like massaging his foot.
He literally talks about that or whatever.
right?
He's like, no, me and Bill Clinton were just doing some stuff with the church. Fucking hell, bro. That's wild.
I'm just saying, like, aren't there photos about that of like them doing like maybe not? I didn't see Chris Tucker. I saw Bill Clinton in particular, where they're doing like sexual shit in regards to their quote unquote humanitarian trip to Africa somewhere. Like I swear unfortunately saw photos about something like that, and it was like
That's so
party
ridiculous.
time. It wasn't fucking. In my opinion, right? It wasn't humanitarian. It was party time. It seemed like. But
Fucking old Chris.
listen, I'm not related to Chris Tucker. Let me out of this. Here we go.
He got a way higher pitched voice than you, goddamn.
And you could tell
Well,
that
damn,
it was a
Lee.
private plane because they called it, what is it, Lolita Express?
Oh yeah, it was a private plane. Yes. Oh yes.
Goddamn, it's fucking private.
Lord,
Goddamn,
Lord,
it's
Lord,
fucking
Lord.
private.
No. Well, they get.
Then Chris actually was scheduled to meet up with Epstein a few times.
I
after
don't
his
know
first
anything
conviction.
about that
In
island.
July of 2013, Epstein got this email from his assistant, I think, and it said Chris Tucker would love to stop by. He was thrilled to hear from you. And then he was scheduled to meet with Epstein again, also later that year in August. But the comedian who is in the files the most, I think, is definitely Woody Allen.
Yeah, Woody
that dude
Allen,
is like
yeah.
one of the most mentioned people in there. And in this,
Once again, when I first
Yeah,
started
that's
looking into movies,
crazy.
bro, Woody Allen was one of my big inspirations when it comes to making films, bro. I'm being honest with you. I'm like, oh my god, these movies. I enjoyed the movies, man. It is with what's her name? She passed away recently, actually.
Diane Keaton.
Yeah. Fucking from Manhattan to Jesus Christ, the amount of movies I've seen. But they were good movies, though. They're good movies in the sense of like introspection. Like I think the core concept of Woody Allen movies were like introspection, but maybe not so much like not like Everything Everywhere All at Once or like The Matrix or like Nolan movies, but more so like in a neurotic way. As in like, if you're a neurotic, you'll notice these things about experience itself. And now is the beauty of Woody Allen movies. And now it's just like, oh, fuck. I mean, I'll still fucking applaud them for what they were doing, but like, you're hiding things away from your, thus kills kind of the art you were doing in the first place. It is what it is. No offense to Chris Tucker, but he had nothing anywhere near Woody Allen, like, level of artwork. I'm just saying. All right. There we go. Yes, and Woody Allen is one of the biggest, like, one of the most mentioned guys, period. As he sits with his stepdaughter that he first adopted, then married. My gosh. Yeah, that's fucking nuts. And I heard that on Rogan. That's the first time I heard that was from Rogan, or on his podcast thing. All right, here we go.
again, also later that year in August. But the comedian who is in the files the most, I think, is definitely Woody Allen. That dude is like one of the most mentioned people in there. And in this one email between Epstein and someone else, Epstein told him that he was going to Paris to meet with Woody, and the person asked if it was a pedo convention. So even Epstein's friends would make jokes about how creepy they are. Also, Woody Allen's wife/daughter was emailing Epstein about Anthony Weiner, who had just gotten busted for sexting a minor.
Yep.
And Woody's wife said, "I feel sorry for him. It was disgusting what that 15-year-old did to him. I hate women taking advantage of guys. She knew what she was doing and how vulnerable
Holy
Wiener
Michael
was.
Tracy,
What's
huh?
her excuse for being a despicable and disgusting person? She should be ashamed of herself. And I bet this is
Yeah,
how a
that's
lot of
fucking
Epstein's friends thought of his
So now
crimes
Michael
too.
Tracy.
They think of him and the
like-
clients as victims. That's why when they say they're protecting the victims, they're really protecting the clients. They think the elites were taken advantage of by these underage girls. So it's crazy what's going on here. But let me know what you guys think about it all down in the comments, and make sure you check out the Patreon. I just posted.
Okay, that's the end of this video. Yeah, I think there was more to mention there. I'm gonna play a little clip of the Bryan Callen thing.
Oh, yeah.
Like his kind of answer response, or sorry, his statements. And fuck, what's his name? Chris Diella or Diella, something like that. I forgot his name. I think it's Chris Diella or something like that. Where it's like,
He said something else?
No, he had like a sexual.
This is why.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. He did. Yeah.
He had like a thing. Yeah, he had a thing happen of like sexual
Yeah.
assault. Funny enough, he was on like that show You on shout out to Netflix and Josh and Kate to say. But he had a segment on the show You as being like a weirdo, texting like 15, 16-year-old like underage girls. What's her
Yeah,
name?
understood you.
Ortega. What's her first name?
Jenna Ortega.
Jenna Ortega was.
Wait, who did? Who did?
Chris
Me,
Diella or Diella?
Show me a picture.
Uh,
Oh yeah, I know you're talking. He's in the Epstein files.
no,
No.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying like he had like a thing with like sexual abuse.
Yeah, he
or
already did some bad shit on his own.
maybe
Yeah.
statutory was the thing
Yeah,
he was
yeah.
involved in. Yeah.
Like a
Wait, did he really?
16-year-old.
Like in real life?
Yes.
Yeah, like he was like
yes.
a 30-year-old. She's like a 16-year-old. Something like that.
Hold up, really? In
Yes.
California?
I don't know what state, but like he was in like the Rogan verse.
He got caught.
basically.
No, like he got caught for that shit, right? Yeah, he got.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like one of my guys. That's crazy.
If I remember correctly, like Callen was he defending kind of? Am I
That I
tripping
can't
on
say.
that?
I didn't know.
Yeah,
Cal.
okay, I'll be fair. I can't say I know, but I feel like I heard something about that because he was like a mainstay at The Fighter and the Kid, right? Brennan Schaub,
Yeah.
Bryan Callen's podcast. He was like in their world amongst like Spiro, the Rogan verse, right? And I felt like he was like kind of defended by Callen, but I could be wrong. I can't say I know. Yeah, it's bullshit. I don't know. But he was in an episode of You, or a couple episodes, I think. Right? Remember that show on Netflix? The serial killer guy, right?
So wait, that guy actually who was doing that in a show, he actually has like allegations.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's insane.
That's why it was so fucking
What?
weird when you first
But he
heard
was
it.
like he was like a comedian way before that. And he
Yeah,
was always
he's
on-
a comedian.
on
Yeah.
some edgy shit. But I'm saying he was always on some like weirdo shit.
Yeah.
Like his comedy, like, oh, I'm a weirdo.
I'm not gonna lie, I thought it was like kind of funny. At least in podcast, I didn't really know his stand up, but like in podcasts when he talks out loud, I'm like, oh, it's actually kind of funny.
I mean, that's not being a weirdo. That's like real life shit.
No,
Yeah,
it wasn't like that area though. It was like just like saying funny things out loud. I'm like, oh, this guy's kind of funny.
I thought you guys said he like got caught like doing a.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
he
he
did.
did.
I'm saying like before that, or before we heard about it, I thought like, oh, this guy's kind of funny. Like in like a podcast, just talking out loud shit. Like, oh, he's clever in regards to being funny. But then that shit came out. It's like, oh no.
Yeah.
Oh
That's
no.
wild.
And then I swear to that TV show, Joe or Josh. Oh my fucking god. That TV show, man, when he's like doing that in the show and then it comes out in real life, it's like, holy fuck. It's like a mind fuck almost.
Was it before he got caught before or after the show came out?
I think after, right?
After. It was after. I think it was like 2022 or 2023 he got caught.
Wow, that's crazy.
And once again, do not quote me on that, but I think Callen was in defense mode, maybe, in regards to that. And we have the earlier Joe Rogan podcast where Bryan Callen is bringing up sex parties that he went to, allegedly. Like, this is like early,
Well,
this is kind of early days, Rogan. Yo, what's
these
up?
these Rogan Sphere critics all say that like he got caught with some shit
Yeah.
like sexual assault or some shit. Like, not like he got caught, not like he did time or anything. Or he got arrested, but like blatant accusations against him.
Yep. Yeah.
Like there's like a Whitney's Cummings clip where like she's like, yeah, we're just driving somewhere and Brian pulls his dick. Like what? And she's saying it like, oh, this is something that like he does all the time and other comedians do all the time around her, essentially. Yo, don't be a bitch, basically. There was a whole bunch of girls like that. Remember when the girls were on Rogan's show and they were talking about Louis C.K.?
Yep. Yep.
Like
It's like
they
pulls
always,
their-
they
pulls
always
their
got those
gun or
type of
whatever.
girls around.
Yeah. But like that one, the earlier Callen saying like shit on Rogan's podcast, and then but nothing happens because it's like I guess more acceptable, or I don't know what the reason was, but like that was there, him saying stuff like that, like, hey, anonymous sex party, and you just do what you do, all good, and it came back to like actually bite him in the ass, essentially. Pause. But all right, let's play this Callen clip where Schaub's like, dude, you can't say that. What the fuck? Here we go.
Here's the problem. This is why if you're featured in the Epstein files for so long, it's not that you're trying to get laid. It's because, hold on, let me see this for a second. It's because this guy was fucking with 14-year-olds. Okay, so sorry, and you got
Listen, 9-year-olds in there.
Yeah,
Oh, Schwab is like, what?
Hold on. Hey, she was 14, guys. Can you get
Hold on, let me hear.
This is just what that's a
I'll back up. Because yeah. Here we go.
It's because this guy was fucking with 14-year-olds. Okay, so sorry, and you got.
There's some 9-year-olds in there.
Yeah, there's even younger.
Who moved to yes? Hold on. Hey, she was 14, guys. Can you get the right?
Oh no, this is just one example.
Dude, there's
this is just one.
so many.
Yeah,
Brian,
And,
dude, come on, she was 14. What is your take today? What the fuck is going on?
All right, so it looks like one of Joe Rogan's BFFs.
He's wrecked. He's like, 14. What? Who cares? Like, excuse me? Like, this is not right. Right? I think that's Brendan Schaub's take, basically. He's like, yo, what is going on today? I can't play. Like, I'm not going to. Let me see. I'll play a little bit more. Here we go. From American Redact. After leaving, come back real fast. All right, here we go.
Bryan Callen, who's allegedly a predator himself, is unsurprisingly defending Jeffrey Epstein and excusing the people who hung out with him after his initial arrest in 2008, stating that, in the 90s and the early 2000s, it was completely normal to date a 16-year-old girl as a 40-year-old man, and that you'd commonly see teenage girls as young as 16 years old in bars and clubs in New York, which not only is later proven to be completely untrue, but at the very same time, it exposes him as the slimy predator that he always has been. Like, let's not forget that this is the same guy who allegedly told his 23-year-old girlfriend at the time that girls had the biological primal desire to be raped. And when he allegedly said this, he was 40-something years old with another wife and family.
Please understand.
That's why they're there.
Yeah, if you think that 15 and 16-year-old models that who are also on the cover of this, that, and the other thing, people like Kate Moss, do you think back in the 90s anybody was checking ID? Do you think back in the 90s anybody was saying, hey, that girl, like, she's 15? I hate to tell everybody. But the order of the day, it was a creepy fucking era.
There's a song, She's Only 17.
Calvin Klein's models were 15 and 16, dude. It's like, so.
Yeah, but this is
now
also
everybody's
the way the world was.
Even then, before everybody was.
Here's what I will say.
I'm not saying.
I don't like this take either, dude.
I'm just telling you how it was. Here's what I'm trying to say.
I think
the majority of those girls.
We're trying to ruin my show, bro.
It gives, by the way, an argument I actually agree with, where it's like, The idea of like womanizing, where it's like you're a pincushion to stick my fucking pin in. You're not a person. You're not actually there. Let me just stick something in you. That's a real thing worthy of question. Is to where it's like you can't use like, well, they were 16 or 17 or almost 18. It's not good enough of an excuse for me morally. Like that's not good enough. It has to be like, are you sure it's about character, or are you basing it on like they look a certain way, so thus you're behaving a certain way towards them? Which is, let's be honest, for the most case, probably the scenario, right? They're like, oh my God, I'm sexually attracted, so thus I behave a certain way around you. And that is a problem, period. Period, that's a fucking problem. And now we've gotten to, I mean, it's like, kids, like, sorry, forgive me for my language, but my idea, like, okay, these are kids. I understand a 16 or 17-year-old are like young women, right? Or young men. But for me, I'm like kids in my mind. So thus, when these guys start, well, they wanted it. Or, they're trying to make it happen themselves. Yeah, sure, I'm sure that happens. But is that an excuse for these guys? Not for me. I think there's something quite off about it, honestly. And it is the idea of like womanizing in general, right? Like you're a piece of meat for me to whatever orgasm to, right? Forgive me, YouTube. I'm sure you'll ban me
Yeah,
for
it's
this,
like
but
commodifying the body,
which is already a problem in the first place to me. But now it's like actually about like straight up physical features, which is you look younger, and you look younger, but also kind of adult. And that's my idea of what Bryan Callen's mindset is in regards to this, or Led Zeppelin lead singer's idea, or fucking Mick Jagger's idea of girls. And it's like, wow, you guys are fucking losers, in my humble opinion. But all right.
Yeah.
I try to empathize. I get why they might do what they do, but nothing about it screams like this is okay or correct to do, in my opinion. But all right, there we go. Let's see Bryan Callen try his best chance, his best, try at making this argument. Here we go.
Or models who came to New York as young as 13, who were supposed to be looked over. Okay, I promise you, probably 50 to 60% of them have a story about how they were 16 dating a 32-year-old.
As the idea of it.
How they were 16 dating a 45-year-old. You know why? Because it was fucking accepted.
So right off the bat here, I think it's safe to say that Bryan would have happily swam to Epstein's Island if he had the chance, as he's reaching as far as possible to defend his rich, ultra-elite friends that he surrounds himself with in Austin, Texas here. But the fact that he's making Brendan Schaub look like the most logical one in the room just shows you how insane Bryan sounds here. And you could tell that he genuinely thinks he's being devil's advocate in this conversation, but the more Bryan
he was a grown man
that it was completely normal to be dating.
Yes, but like in the 70s, this was like quite acceptable, as far as like rock and rollers and right. That
Yeah,
this
just
was acceptable
13-year-olds
for them.
Yeah, and
like Elvis was known to
Elvis,
bang
yeah.
young girls.
A lot of
So many celebrities.
Yeah, I think a lot more than we even like fucking realize. Like it would make the Epstein files like blush. I think how bad it was back then. But what is it? It's about some chick that you can bang on tour, but Bobby's doing it too. So like it's all good. And it's like, okay, you're accepting the rules of the times versus like, what do you actually think if you actually thought about it? But they don't fucking think about it, do they? And Bryan Callen was probably very much caught up in that world, if I had to guess. Not rock and rollers, but like more so like celebrity life and all these younger girls like begging to be around Bryan Callen I think he got caught up in that shit. He's probably caught up in that. Let's be honest. In my humble opinion, he's probably caught up in that shit. Now in 2026,
Batteries.
it looks bad. It looks really bad. So thus you have to like hide it or blush about it or be like, no, I didn't do that. No, fuck that. Which is more so of what? Man of the times argumentation for why it's okay or why it's not okay anymore. Even with Brendan Schaub, right? I get why he's reacting the way he's reacting. It's like, yo, what the fuck? You can't do that.
Gonna go
The
punch
fuck?
him.
Well, he's like, you can't do that. That's what the fuck. But that's based on like him just in a time period versus like if it was like fucking Victorian era where it's like it is okay now, right? And that leaves room for Michael Tracy's of the world. Be like, yeah, if this was fucking 1735, you'd be cool with this. So shut the fuck up. Like, don't let that happen. Thinkers that are looking at this topic, do not let that happen. Get it humbly. Anyways, let's hit play. Here we go.
Literal 16-year-old sophomores in high school back in the 90s, the more you start to wonder what this guy has actually seen. Like Callen literally says that it was a social norm to see underage girls get trafficked back in the day, stating that he's even seen it himself.
But here, hey,
buddy.
Hey, can I give you just a little take as a guy in New York? I wasn't in the scene, I wasn't famous, but I saw like you would see this is how things worked in New York City. Young women were trafficked as an order of the day back in the day. So like it's again, don't be surprised that this shit was happening. Don't be surprised. It was
not a surprise.
It was socially accepted. That's what nobody's talking about.
What was socially accepted?
What was socially
girls
accepted?
being in a club?
So if you were 40 back then and you showed up with an 18-year-old and you walked into a room, that was socially acceptable. If I'm going to say this, I think this is the case. If you were like some famous actor and you show up with a top model who happened to have been 16, 17 back in the day in the 90s, I guarantee nobody said shit. You know what they said? They do it in Europe.
He's probably right.
I'm just telling you, that's
yeah,
that's
but
how that shit went down.
Is that a good thing?
That's
Like,
how that shit.
he's saying it like it's a
100%.
like
he's
people
right,
are
but it's like
asking too
the
much
way
now.
he's saying it's creepy.
Like,
He's saying some man at a time shit, straight up. At best. That's my best. That's at best, right? It could be a lot worse than that, honestly, as far as exploitation and shit like that. But at best, what he's saying is man at a time shit, I think. And he's saying like, oh, this was the culture then, which I agree with. I agree with that. Or that was probably like the culture back then of like, clubs and modeling and models, right, and all that shit.
sure.
Creepy party culture.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Aaliyah and R. Kelly and yeah,
yeah. It's part of the culture, but like, is it okay? Is it right? That is not what's gone over. Is it? It's more about like this was acceptable back then.
R. Kelly stuff wasn't okay even at that time. I remember.
I mean,
it wasn't okay.
definitely
Yeah, it still wasn't okay, but it was more like
in his
people were
in
like,
rap culture
what are you
and
gonna
music
do
culture.
about
Definitely, it was like a joke. Like, oh, yeah.
But yeah, people
AJ
still like when I was a kid,
or whatever.
we'd make fun of Elvis for being a creep.
Well, like these are arguments I hear about like slavery, almost, or American slavery, right? It's like, well, at the time period, they believed this, so thus this happened, but like it doesn't make it right. And part of me thinks, in regards to Bryan Callen, why he's saying what he's saying is about maybe his own personal experience, which makes it cool, extra weird, right? Almost like a justification or a, like, hey, this was the thing. So once again, I've heard him talk about this stuff back in the day. I'm like, that's kind of weird. Like as I was listening to it, and now, but it went away, right? Like it didn't become like a stuck topic about this guy. But
I think part of when he says, it was okay then, or it was normal then, I think that reflects more his circle of people, right? Like,
yeah,
they all thought it was okay, and then, well, okay, then it must be. Like, people often normalize to what others accept or think is normal.
Yeah,
It
man,
doesn't
man
mean
at a
that
time.
it's like
Yeah.
all across the board like that. It's just
Uh,
yeah. Sometimes it can be somewhat
mm,
niched and have a belief that that's a broader thing.
well, like think of someone who's like brand new to like fame and riches and shit like that, and they see that, they may like look around in the room like, everyone's okay with this. All right, fine, fuck it, everyone's okay with this, which is like some man at a time shit, which might be Callen's actual experience to where he ends up. I'm not saying, well, I don't know what he's done personally. I'm just saying like to where it becomes like in a way acceptable. That's the thing. I can believe that one. Where it's like, oh, that's what it was. It is what it is. Just like I said, Mick Jagger, to Robert Plant, is that his name? Led Zeppelin guys, shit like that. To where it's like, okay, yeah, they're 13, but who cares? Because that's the time period.
Yeah.
Becomes man at a time's acceptable because of what they're used to, I guess. But in 2026 or 2025, maybe not so, maybe not as much. So thus, they may have to like protect themselves in their minds at least, in regards to this idea. But all right, let's play. Here we go.
It went down.
Right after that, he also says that Jerry Seinfeld's 17-year-old girlfriend back then was, quote, blown out, which makes
that has
Brendan
been mentioned
Schaub and the
recently.
guest on the podcast
Very much so.
super weirded
The hell
out,
does
as if
blown
they're
out mean?
just now starting to realize that
Very
Bryan
much
Callen is exactly what his accusers say he is.
17-year-old Shoshana Lonstein.
There you go. Now, hold on.
Hold on.
When he was 38. So that's
Now,
older
hold
than
on.
me
Now,
with a high school girl.
Now, to my
Newman?
point, thank you very much. Now,
Seinfeld
Shoshana
meant
Lonstein, have you ever seen what she looked like? She was so blown out, it was crazy. Now,
What do you mean blown out?
she was like,
Oh!
bring her up when she was 17.
Oh,
It was
he's
like,
gonna
my
do
friend
that.
was there, and
He's
he was
gonna
like,
do
man
this.
alive.
Like she's ran
No, she
through.
was
Is what
17.
he's
I
saying?
love you. Stop it.
No, I'm saying.
He's saying,
Yeah, bro.
she was so hot.
Just
There's nothing you can
stop.
do about this. But it's like, are you chasing her for tits and ass? So that's where I go personally. I'm like, is it about tits and ass, or is it about like something else? What is it actually about? And apparently they're saying like, oh well, it's about tits and ass, and this girl was so thick or so fucking hot that Seinfeld had no chance. Meanwhile, it's like, but that's not the idea that people view Seinfeld, Jerry Seinfeld as. They don't view him as that. Right?
They sound like apes.
What's that?
So they sound like apes.
Well, Callen right now is there for sure, but these other, in my opinion, dingbats and ditzes are looking for age numbers, and because she's 17 when she meets Jerry, so thus they're viewing it in that lens. And Bryan Callen, for whatever reason, is arguing like, "Oh, the nuance of the age. Like, look at her. Like, look at her, dude. Is that a little girl? It's not. See, look, it's different." Which is
Unreal.
what Fuentes and fucking who else made that argument? Michael Tracy, right? Like, oh, these aren't like little girls. They're not like prepubescent, as they say, right?
I mean, he's dropping her off at the high school and shit. What the fuck?
Well, it's like, well, why? Hey, Jerry, why is she so impressive to you to be into? And it can't. Apparently, it has to be about tits and ass. But meanwhile, like a 17-year-old or a 16-year-old can have those features. So thus, like, there's where you're fucking up at. It's like it doesn't matter. It probably doesn't even matter what this girl like thinks or says out loud. It's more so, damn, look at those tits and ass.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, that to me is unfortunate. But that will not be the argument. I'm sorry. From regular people, for most people, it's Brendan Schaub versus Bryan Callen, right? Like, Bryan Callen's like, look at her. See, look at that. Brendan Schaub's like, well, but she's like under the number limit. So, like, she's bad. You can't do that. And I'm like, why are you taking advantage of anyone or trying to or whatever the fuck?
Yeah.
But, all right, here we go. Let's see. I guess Bryan Callen's explanation. Like, look at her. Come on, dude. Look at her.
Fucking monkey, dude.
Look at her cup size. Jesus Christ. But all right, here we go.
Bring her up when she was 17. It was like my friend was there and he was like, man alive. Now she was 17.
Brian, I love you. Stop it.
No, I'm saying she was 17. She was 17 and he was 39. And what would happen right now? We'd all be like, are you out of your mind? Guess what? Nobody
Go to regular pictures of her chin.
Nobody batted an eye, everybody.
This might just be the absolute worst hill to die on for a guy who's accused by 4 separate
Nobody
women
batted
of
an eye. They wouldn't have
sexual
headlines like
misconduct,
that.
which, when you revisit that, is still completely horrifying.
Wait,
it's almost
who's
people
accused?
Forget that Brian
Bryan
allegedly lured.
No way.
This guy.
Yes,
Yeah, dude.
Bryan Callen has had some
Yeah, dude.
accusations as well. Just like Christiella, or I fuck his name up every time. Diella, whatever the fuck. Just like him, I think Callen has had the same thing, but like less of repercussions for it, right? And
So he was caught?
Yeah. No, well,
Dude.
it's less
It's
caught,
all
I
alleged.
think.
It's
Yeah,
alleged.
yeah. Christiella, I think, was like straight up caught. Bryan Callen was
Jesus Christ.
not that. I don't think.
Poor bitches.
All right, here we go.
Still completely horrifying. Like, it's almost like people forget that Brian allegedly lured a woman to his home after a friendly dinner, pinned her onto his bed, and penetrated her while she repeatedly told him no, allegedly telling her that she's gonna, quote, love this and that she's his girlfriend now. Then after the whole thing, he allegedly said to her, what am I, a big bad rapist? There's also another allegation of Brian pushing a store employee against the wall in a fitting room, closing the curtain, and kissing her on her neck without her consent. And of course, Brian's denied all these allegations, but regardless, you can tell this guy's just an absolute creepy sex pest. I mean, even Whitney
Wow,
Cummings
so
has a
stupid.
story about Bryan Callen exposing his parts to her in his car without
there
her
it is.
consent,
Yeah,
which seems to be true since Callen didn't even deny it when she was telling the story right in front of him.
It was only like 7:30, and you were like, "Can I get a ride in my car?" And I was like, "Sure." And you got in the car, and I literally like turned the wheel, like
Chick
to
is
like
dumb,
look
bro.
where I was going, and I turned around, and your dick was out.
Hey,
The old peekaboo.
I'd let her buy Sammy though.
So now that you're up to speed with the guy's past and all of the horrifying
is.
accusations against him, when you listen to him trying to defend Epstein and all the elites that hung out with him, it really makes you realize where he's coming from.
Real awesome. They're not a good time.
He was probably looked at by most people back then as the guy who had the in with all the hottest girls in New York. That's how he marketed himself, right?
Pre-2008,
And now,
you could
now
say
you got
that.
an island. If you get on the plane to the island, in the real world, girls were getting, back in the day, would get married at 16 to a 40-year-old. And that was all over the place. Now, am I advocating for that? No. Fucking no, I'm not. What I'm trying to say is that shit was done all the time. There are more women
happened
than
a lot,
not
yeah.
who were models,
Some
who
people
were
own slaves,
in New
you know?
York, who have a story about being 16 and dating a 40-year-old. And that's a fact. And you know why I know that? Saw it. All of us did. Nobody talked about it, but it was like, well, I don't know what's going on there.
Another thing that makes this defense of Brian strange is that he's one of, if not the closest friend to Joe Rogan, who is also backtracking and defending Epstein and all his buddies that appear to have been close to the monster himself, even after his first conviction in 2008.
That's a very specific illicit desire to want underage people.
Well,
how do you even find out that someone's into that?
So this could very
looks like
well
an
be
old
Brian
baseball
just
glove.
parroting the same talking points that he and Rogan agreed to sound off about publicly before talking about it on their podcasts. Like Joe Rogan apparently spoke with Donald Trump on February 1st over the phone, with Trump saying that he spoke to Rogan about the ongoing ICE crackdowns
Rogan
and
in there?
all. But I feel like you could also assume that Trump briefly spoke to Rogan about how he should address the Epstein stuff and all that too.
Joe Rogan was one of your biggest endorsers in 2024. He said he understood the president's sort of plan to deport people here who are here illegally, but he also understands why critics compare ICE officers to the Gestapo asking people for their papers. What's your response to him?
Well, look, first of all, he's a great guy. We had a tremendous success before the election. I think it was his biggest interview ever, and over 300 million people. It was very good. She didn't want to do it, you know. She decided not to do it because she's not
Kamala
capable.
was too scared.
But I spoke to him 3 days ago. We had a great conversation. And all I'm doing, I have to keep.
Did he
the
mention
country
this to you? Did you guys talk about this, the ICE
a little
enforcement?
bit. Just had a good conversation. I think he's a great guy, and I think he likes me too.
Yeah.
So the fact that Trump spoke to Rogan on the phone just confirms that Rogan's an official mouthpiece of the administration now. And Rogan most likely spoke to Callen about it all too, as they're best friends forever at the end of the day. But tracing back to Callen's defense of Epstein here, by far the funniest part about Bryan saying that it was normal in New York to date 16-year-olds is that it all gets thrown out the window by his ex-wife, who he claims was the person who knew about all the underage disgustery that went down in New York prior to even meeting Bryan.
Like, I want to call my first wife right now and ask her. I want to ask her one question. I want to say, when you were 16, was it hard to get into a club? She was a big model.
But of course not.
Yeah, but she's got such inside look on this stuff. Watch this.
And so when he calls her on the phone, she literally says that none of that went down in New York ever. And the only times she saw that happening was in Europe, which completely shoots down everything Bryan was saying before this.
Let's just have a conversation with her about how fucked up that world was.
Whatever.
No, we all know.
Hey, Shop's like,
agree.
okay, fine. Okay.
Hello. Now, you were a big model in New York.
Oh my God, shut up.
That's how you
No, but you
start
were
the
a big model in New York.
Shut up.
And how old were you when you first went to New York?
24.
Okay, so did you know girls who were as young as 16 who were modeling in New York?
Dude, New York, but overseas, yes.
Overseas. And those, okay, and so when in New York, we were talking about this Epstein thing, right? This Epstein thing. And so,
I'm not getting anyone in trouble. What's happening?
no, we're on a podcast, but I was just trying to say that New York back in the day was
Don't even tell her
it was
before you
all
ask all
sex
this
for
shit.
sale. It was all insanity.
Mostly Europe. Because like when I lived in Milan,
So yeah, just a super weird
No
hill
offense.
to die on
Is that
here for
Allie?
Bryan. Not really
voice.
surprising though, especially since he's in this circle of the ultra elite billionaire reptiles down there in Austin. I mean, the guy literally flies around in a helicopter around Austin with his mega rich pal all the time there. He also has a bit in his most recent dumpster fire of a comedy special where he talks about his billionaire friends in Austin.
You really want to be safe? You really want to be safe? You got to make money. Real, yeah, I'm talking real money. You know what I mean? I'm not talking Austin money. I'm talking Dallas money. Yeah, there's a difference, bro. Oh man, I'm talking billions. My buddy's a billionaire. That's ready for this. That's 1,000 million.
I mean, Bryan didn't get cornered into defending Epstein at all. He, in fact, shamelessly defends that creepy circle with his chest out. And the craziest part is that he actually believed people would buy what he was selling here. And the more he talked, the worse it got. And that's what makes it so unbelievably creepy to hear. Like, it's not just that Bryan defended Epstein, but it's that he did it in a way that exposes how he really thinks. Then you layer in the Rogan connection, the phone call he had with Donald Trump, and the Austin billionaire bubble, and it all really starts to look like there's a pattern here. Like these guys all
Look at
protect
these
each other.
losers.
And when something
These are
ugly surfaces, they
losers.
double down
I
just
kid you
like
not.
this,
These are loser
even
people.
if it makes them sound insane.
They are
So at the end of the
losers.
day, Bryan Callen's a deeply slimy and perverted individual. And honestly, it makes sense why his career's in the gutter now. Like, he's always complaining that he can't sell tickets and that he never made it in Hollywood, saying that he's confused because he's tried super hard for over
He's in The
30
Hangover.
years now. But then
There
when
he
he
is.
says stuff like this, you know exactly why he didn't become a household name on the big screen. I mean, the guy's an alleged rapist and confirmed PDF protector. So now, whenever he complains about failing in life, just remember that this is who he actually is.
I did have a very famous,
That's okay.
I did have a very famous
We love
powerful
you,
Hollywood
Brian.
person tell me why he thought I didn't make it.
No one knows
which
about
I
the
won't say,
Rogan
but
thing.
anyway.
That's mean.
Brian, you
No,
made
it was interesting.
Brian, shut up. You made
Yeah,
it.
by all sense,
you had a
I guess it
sitcom.
depends what you mean made.
Sitcoms, three
yeah,
sitcoms.
Yeah, you were in
And
movies.
TV and movies.
Brian, you
That'd be making
crushed it.
Yeah.
Brian, here's your
But
problem.
you're not Kevin Hart.
chat,
behaves
Sam,
in their
I
actual
always look at it this way. Like we were doing this thing and Ryan Reynolds, people were talking about how he gets hate or he gets criticized. And I was like, look, man, I don't know about that. I just know that I tried really, really hard to be Ryan Reynolds. I did. I tried my hardest. I was in acting class. I went on every fucking audition. I did
You're
okay.
not
I was in a
hot
couple
like
sitcoms
Ryan
and
Reynolds.
some
Give me a
movies and
fucking
stuff.
break, bro.
But for whatever reason,
Watch your mouth.
I'm not Ryan Reynolds. You know why?
Canadian dick rider.
I'm just
Ryan Reynolds,
probably
Canadian.
in some ways, hate to say it, I think I'm really good at comedy, but maybe I'm just not as good, or maybe just for whatever reason I didn't do it. Maybe he was smarter in this other area, but either way,
Well,
he's
the
there.
reality is, man, there can only be like a couple of Ryan
That's fine,
Reynolds.
but I'm not
and
going to hate
there's
on the guy because
probably
of it.
There can only be one Ryan
thousands and
Reynolds, you
thousands
dumb
and
fuck.
thousands of people that are trying to.
I did. I tried hard, man.
Good. No offense.
But yeah, just thought that was interesting as Brian's
He's not that
Joe
good, but
Rogan's
there can
right-hand
literally
man and
only be
all.
one of them.
But anyways, make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. And of course, thanks so
Okay. Video.
Like, why the fuck could you compare yourself to Ryan Reynolds? What the fuck, bro?
If he said Ryan Gosling, that'd make more sense. But in Ryan
Could've been a
Reynolds,
Jack
just like,
Nicholson yell, bro.
or that, right, where it's like, oh my god, these guys are like critically successful, right? Ryan Reynolds is Deadpool. Whatever, who cares? Either way, I get it.
There you have it.
There's your video. Yeah, that's true. Please subscribe if you feel like. Comment, agree or disagree. We're gonna watch like, yeah. By the way, I'm watching this, bro. Daily Wire's Game of Thrones ripoff. We're gonna watch that now after this video. But either way, Bryan Callen. They didn't play the fucking old school, again, 3 tri-camera style thing of Joe Rogan's podcast where this guy was talking about like anonymous sex parties. Bro, he said that shit, dude. And apparently it's forgotten. It's okay. I'm sure these guys too lazy to try, and American podcast, American Redact. He knows more.
Podcast cringe, man.
Podcast cringe. I'm sure they know so much about this stuff, but I think they missed out. It's okay. On some like bigger things, if they wanted to like actually use that, they could use that thing. It's okay though. I'm not a video essay guy. But please tell me in the comment section what you think. Do not forget to share support. Hopefully donate to all the links in the description box. Also, please check out the Discord link if you want to join that. All opinions are welcome. I swear to God they are. Shout out to Robocop. All opinions are welcome, so please show up. Let it fly. Also, everything I showed you will be linked in that same description box for you to look at on your own and for your own opinion. So please go ahead and do that. And most importantly, with all that said, with all that said,
Give this a thumbs down.
say it louder.
Thumbs down.
Give this video a thumbs down. God damn it.
A thumbs down.